Welcome to The Archive Speaks, a podcast by the Refugee Archive. In this series, we document the journeys of displaced women who lead households, rebuild communities, and carry stories that often go unheard. These oral histories reflect the personal memories and truths of those who tell them, shaped by time, trauma, and resilience. The Refugee Archive holds space for these voices without political alignment or editorial interference. This is the final chapter of Sakena's story. For months, we followed her voice, from the rice fields of Gudusara, through the fire and flight from Rakhine, across rivers, and into the crowded lanes of Cox's Bazar. Now, we arrive with her in the quiet spaces that follow survival. The small shelter she's made into a home, the prayers whispered between morning and night, the dreams she still holds for her children. This part of her story is less about escape and more about endurance. What happens after the headlines fade, when the world stops watching, but life continues? Here, Sakena lets us into her daily rhythm. The call to prayer, the sound of children learning, the simple rituals that keep her anchored. And in her words, we hear what remains: faith, tenderness, and the steady light she's built within walls of bamboo.
For the past 2 weeks, I couldn't go anywhere because of sickness and body pain. I went to the MSF hospital, but they only gave me 4 paracetamol tablets, which didn't work properly. During this time, I stayed home and couldn't do any housework because of the pain all over my body. I came here to communicate with my neighbors since I have no retailers nearby. Recently, I went with one of my neighbors who was about to give birth. I helped take care of her and her baby. It was truly a meaningful support for them. That made me feel happy and proud of myself for being helpful even during my weekdays. A few days ago, a landslide occurred near my shelter. Sadly, there was no one, no husband, son, brother, or relatives to help me repair the damage. Even though my body was still aching, I managed to fix it temporarily with my own hands. Though my shelter is only made of tarpaulin, I worked hard and completed a few repairs. I realized that with effort and patience, I can face difficulties that come my way. Back in Myanmar, I was involved in agricultural activities. I raised hens and ducks and did small servant jobs to earn money for my children's expenses. I had my own space to do this work. But here, as a refugee, I don't even have a proper place to build a shelter, let alone start a small business. I wish I could continue my old activities like buying and selling hens and ducks, but poverty has limited me. If I could get seeds, bamboo, and some space for farming, I could afford part of my children's expenses. For now, we survive mainly with the WFP rations. Whether they are enough or not, we have to continue our lives. I never did tailoring work in Myanmar or Bangladesh. But if such training were available, I would love to become a tailor. I am Rohingya, and my language is Rohingyalish. I often speak with words like moi, gorot, aika, bodda, mazi, etc. when I go to collect rations, gas, or visit the hospital. The officials, madams, and volunteers are kind. They help us by explaining things clearly in our mother tongue. According to my religion, I perform ibadah, praying, reciting the Quran, and doing zikr and advats. My faith gives me peace, and I always feel that Allah blesses me. I never show my sadness to my children because I am their only caretaker. I provide for their education, treatment, and daily needs. I also encourage them to pray, read Quran, and make dua in times of hardship. They pray for me and always ask Allah to grant me recovery. Every Friday, women and girls from my neighborhood come to my shelter to learn verses of the Quran, du'as, and advats. Through this, I stay connected with my neighbors, and sometimes they help me during difficult times by bringing water, rations, or vegetables. I always stay patient even when my children feel upset seeing others with new clothes or fruits. I comfort them and say, "Oh, my children, this is not the time. Next time, we will have it." Every day, I cook 3 meals, morning, afternoon, and evening, like soup, curry, and rice. After finishing my household chores, I rest and then join the women and girls around me to learn and discuss useful topics. My aim is to continue learning and teaching so that I can grow in knowledge and skills. I have a strong desire to become an architect, to design flowers, and a tailor to sew clothes beautifully. I want to attend trainings, gain knowledge, and follow the rules properly. Even though I am getting older, I still push myself to continue learning. If anyone gives me a chance, I would study to build a better life. I can already read and write names and signboards around me. I wish to learn tailoring because it would greatly support both my personal life and my children's future. If kind-hearted people support us poor women with tailoring machines, agricultural seeds, or small animals to raise, our lives would become much easier. Even a small amount of help would mean a lot. To target tailoring, we would need sewing machines, instructors, and teachers. For agriculture, we would need nets for fencing, bamboo for sheds, seeds to cultivate, and converse to help mark housing. As a woman, I face many qualities, but I never lose devotion. If I could get just 2 pairs of pigeons, I could raise and sell them. 2 pairs a month means 24 pairs a year, which would cover many of our expenses. A tailoring machine would help me earn daily income and teaching others in my community.
When Sakena speaks of mornings in Cox's Bazar, it's easy to forget this place was never meant to last. The camps began decades ago, when Rohingya families first fled violence in Rakhine. What was once temporary is now home to nearly 1 million people, mostly women and children. For Sakena, this is where life had to begin again. Her days follow the rhythm of survival, the call of Fajr, the line for water, the smell of bread rising in the morning heat. In these small rituals, she rebuilds what was taken, bit by bit. She says, "Home is not made of soil, it is made inside the heart." And in that quiet faith, Sakena holds what so many Rohingya mothers carry, hope that refuses to disappear.
I receive hand cash after 5 or 6 months from my daily work of 10 or 9 days under IOM. The amount is given after 3 or 4 months, and there is no other way to earn any money. When it is time to receive the fees, I have to collect a ticket one day and submit it the next day, standing in long lines both times. The distributing point is very far, and this long distance causes great tension and stress. The money is given by other staff, not by those who manage the work. During distribution, they check and match the smart card and take signatures or stamps. As a woman who is unwell, standing and waiting in line is harder than working itself. Sometimes, I even miss my prayer times because of it. When I face serious hardships or illness, I contact my relatives and they help me by giving a small amount of money, like 500 or 200. NGOs provide us only with rations, not money. As a woman who stays inside the shelter, following Islamic rules, like gold kept safe in a vessel, I believe there are occupations that can be continued with dignity inside the shelter, such as sewing. No man can disturb a woman who walks like this, and she can earn a small income while staying safe. We have important documents such as data cards, family cards, smart cards, assistance cards, food cards, and gas cards. When taking gas, both the gas card and assistance card are required. When collecting rations, we must take the data card, smart card, food card, and a token given on that day. Both processes are very difficult because of the long distance. If any card is lost, we have to complain at the complaint hubs or CIC office. But it takes 2 or 3 years to get another one. If a card is lost, we can still get rations, but not the smart card again. By the grace of Allah, all the cards of my 2 daughters, my son and myself are safe. When taking rations, I must wait in line just like the men, following all the rules and procedures. If someone forgets to bring even one required card, they are not allowed to collect rations. I wish the distribution could be arranged so that women like me receive fast, but that never happens. Sometimes, due to waiting and fatigue, I forget to take essential items back home. When a family member becomes sick, I take them to the MSF medical facilities with their individual medical book. However, they usually give only paracetamol, no matter what the disease is. The saddest part is that if the patient does not have a fever, they do not provide any medicine, even for serious conditions. We have to wait in line for a long time, but at the end, we only receive 4 paracetamols. Without the medical book, they do not give any medicine. As a woman, it is extremely difficult for me to carry my children to the medical facilities and wait for hours. My son studies at a Hafiz Khana near our block. His teacher, Hafiz Salim, wakes the students at dawn for study. After a short breakfast break, they continue learning until 10 a.m. and then leave for their meal. My son needs many things as a student, such as the Quran, a hat, a long shirt, kuruta, longi, shoes, perfume, and other small items. When my shelter gets damaged, I report it to the complaint hub, but they come to check only after 5 or 6 months. They repair only the broken parts, not the Hadon shelter. If the shelter is damaged by a cyclone or heavy rain, we temporarily stay in the social building. If conflicts happen with neighbors, some people come to help and solve the problem. If they cannot, it goes to the block leader, and if still unresolved, it reaches the CIC or the caseworker. In my family, big issues have not happened. Only small ones like waterline problems, which usually get solved within 2 or 3 days. Sometimes, organization staff visit and raise awareness on community issues. Families with males and those without are very different. Men can repair shelters, support household work, and earn money, but women cannot. If a woman's shelter is damaged, it may take a year to get help from others. When I received a gas token, I faced extreme difficulty carrying the cylinder to and from the distribution center. I had to ask others for help. Women like me live in sadness and hardship. When Sapiks come, my children miss their father and say that if he were alive, we would not face these problems. 3 years ago, the same happened regarding the gas cylinder, but advice to include to them that we have no other choice.
In Cox's Bazar, life moves in quiet repetition, prayer, water lines, and the sound of children learning to speak new words. Most of the camp's residents are women and children. Many, like Sakena, became heads of their households after losing husbands to violence or separation during the flight from Myanmar. As she speaks, Sakena ties memory to faith, her parents' teachings, her husband's prayers, her children's laughter. For her, motherhood is both devotion and endurance. Faith is not distant, but daily. Even here, she says, a mother is the light of the home, even when the world outside has turned to darkness.
Teachers and neighbors never mistreat my children because I always teach them to respect elders, show kindness to younger ones, and have patience. My neighbors never insult me for being a widow. When they have problems, they call me for advice, and when I face difficulties, I share with them and they show sympathy. Recently, I bought some cosmetics for my eldest daughter. She became so happy that her joy filled my heart. The younger one said she wanted the same next month, and that made me smile deeply because their happiness means everything to me. As a woman, I need 3 types of essential support. First, stopping from alternative block god. Second, support or labor for the gas cylinder. Third, I need help repairing my shelter when it gets damaged. They provide a laborer to carry rations, but not for gas cylinders. If I could receive a little financial support, it would help me manage daily needs, buy clothes, get treatment, care for my daughters, breed a few hens, and handle unexpected situations. My life is not like those who have men and regular income in their families. In comparison, our life feels like living in hell, full of struggles and pain, while theirs seems like heaven. When there is money in a family, sadness does not feel like sadness. It becomes light and manageable. If I could provide my children with small joys through money, I would feel like I am living in heaven. If I get help in this difficult situation, I would pray sincerely for them, their families, and their relatives.
As Sakena's story closes, her voice lingers, soft, steady, like prayer carried by wind. She's lived through loss, through the kind of waiting that turns days into years. But she still speaks of light, of soil, of home. For mothers like Sakena, home is no longer a place you can point to on a map. It's what you build with your hands, what you keep alive through memory. In Cox's Bazar, Surrounded by thousands of others who fled the same fire, she found her own small rhythm of survival: faith, work, care. And in telling her story, she did something quietly radical. She made herself visible again. Sakena reminds us that behind every statistic is a woman who wakes before dawn, prays for her children, and keeps the world turning in the smallest ways. Her story is a mirror of strength, of tenderness, and of what it means to live when everything else has been taken. And as she says, when a mother's tear falls, it can wash the sorrow of a land. May her voice, and the voices of women like her, keep reminding us what endures: faith, love, and the hope that still lives in exile. You've been listening to The Archive Speaks, a podcast from the Refugee Archive, a global center dedicated to preserving and amplifying the voices of displaced female head of households. If this story moved you, help us share it. Support our cause by finding us on any social media platform at the Refugee Archive. And join us, because when more of us listen, more of them speak.